If you can, power down the device. However, we've got no touch on this, so we're just going to move straight on to removing the 2 pentalobe screws on the bottom of the phone. To remove the screen, we're going to take a single-sided razor blade to create a small gap between the edge of the screen and the chassis of the phone. Then we'll get the plastic guitar pick, insert it a couple of millimeters, and just run it down the edges of the device to separate it from the chassis. Once you've run your pick around the 3 edges, we can wiggle the screen about a little bit and then open it up just like opening a book. Once you're into the phone, take a heavy object like a mug and place it behind it to prop up the screen, freeing up both your hands. Use a Y000 tri-wing screwdriver to remove the 2 screws that hold down this shield. Then use tweezers to remove the shield and a plastic spudger to disconnect the battery, as well as the 2 connectors for the display and the touch. Moving up the device now, remove the 4 tri-wing screws holding down this shield at the top. Whilst I'm doing this, make sure you click that subscribe button for more repair content just like this. Now those screws are removed, take your tweezers again and lift up the shield. Make sure you lift it from this edge because there is a little sort of catch over this side. And then take your plastic spudger and disconnect just this flex cable here for the ear speaker and front sensor. We can now remove the screen safely, and we're going to concentrate on prepping this chassis for our new display now. As part of the repair process, we need to replace this dust and moisture resistant seal that you can see on the edge of the chassis, and the easiest way to do that is with one of these number 4 X-Acto blades, and we're just going to run it along the edges, being careful not to damage any of the important components or flex cables. With the adhesive removed, we're just going to take some alcohol now and a cleaning brush and wipe away any dust or moisture or grime that's left behind. We can now take the new dust and moisture resistant seal, peel off the first part of the peel, then line up the top left corner first in the top left corner of the chassis, follow it down this left hand edge, and then the rest of it should follow suit and line up quite nicely. Sometimes the battery tab gets in the way. Then just use the back end of the plastic spudger to push it down and secure the seal into place. We can now peel back the guide layer of the film, leaving behind the seal and one final piece of film which we'll remove just before we stick the screen down. We'll put the chassis to one side now and get the broken display, place it face down on the workbench and take a crosshead screwdriver and remove these 2 screws that hold down the ear speaker. The other 2 on the other side are Y000 tri-wing screws. Remove those 2 now, then fold back the ear speaker, and because this screen's been replaced before, these aren't stuck down so well. However, if your proximity sensor and ambient light sensor is stuck down, use a hairdryer or a heat gun to soften the adhesive, meaning it's a bit easier to remove those because we don't want to damage these important components. In our case, it looks like these should just lift up with the tweezers and then get underneath the microphone with the tweezers again to remove that. It's important that you transfer this across because if not, you will lose Face ID function on the phone. This screen's done with now, and for this repair we're going to be using the X07 soft OLED display, and I'll stick a link where we can buy this in the description below. Take your new screen and place it face down, then remove this little peel what's on the back of the screen. And now we're just going to work backwards, starting off with lining up the proximity sensor, ambient light sensor and microphone into the little plastic slot that's there. And then sometimes you have to hold it down because it's a little bit springy. We'll get the ear speaker into place now, then secure that down with the crosshead screws on the right and the tri-wing screws on the left. The smaller of the 2 in the top left and the bigger one goes in the bottom left. This screen is now ready to install onto our phone, and the easiest way to do this is to offer up the touch connector first, line that up with the connector on the phone, then apply pressure once it's lined up and click it into place. Do the display connector next, and then move back up to the top to reconnect the ear speaker and front sensor flex. We'll pop the mug behind the screen again to free up our hands. Then we can reinstall the shield at the top with the 4 tri-wing screws that hold it down. If you're having a go at this repair yourself at home, let me know how you get on in the comments below. We've had some great feedback recently, and it really helps us in the future make our tutorials even better. With those screws secured, we can now move on to the battery, reconnect that, and then get your little shield that goes over the top of that and secure it down with the 2 tri-wing screws. We're on the home straight now, and all that we need to do is remove the last little bit of plastic film on the screen seal. Fold the screen down and remove it from the other edge. We're going to place it in and secure the clips in the top, and then sliding your finger and thumb down the edge of the screen, that's going to secure it down before finally reinstalling those 2 pentalobe screws at the bottom. And now this phone is ready to hand back to our customer. Thank you for watching, and see you next time.